Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tell a friend. But more importantly, if you're new to the channel and this is your first time watching, do me a favor. If you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, hit the bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. There was a comment made the other day in regards to Tupac, in regards to by the rapper T-Pain. And T-Pain had made a comment in regards to Tupac, and I'm going to quote, he said basically Tupac would have been murdered lyrically had he still been alive, dealing with today's artists and MCs. There are a couple of problems with that, right? I understand sometimes, and I don't think T-Pain has to use Tupac's name. He's one of the guys that really doesn't have to use Tupac's name to gain credibility, as he's a talented guy himself, right? But then again, when you say something like that about Tupac, it always garners a lot of publicity because he is one of the greatest MCs and artists of our time, if not the greatest as far as impact and being substantive is concerned, right? So with that being said, I gotta bring this to your attention. First and foremost, T-Pain is wrong on damn near every accusation that he made in regards to Tupac. Number one, if Tupac had still been alive today, he would have been defeated lyrically by the artists that are out today. Noticed in this entire statement that he made, he didn't name one MC, right? And the fact that he didn't name one MC was because he couldn't name an MC. He used social media as his catalyst for making that statement in regards to people coming out nowadays saying things disrespectful to other artists, wanting to start beef with who might be the top artist at this particular time, right? And you know, other artists trying to reach for the pinnacle and starting some kind of beef or some kind of words back and forth and so on, right? See, the problem with that is that when Tupac was alive, right, everything that Tupac was involved with was real. I'm going to say it again. Everything that Tupac was involved with was real. The New York incident, being shot, that wasn't staged. That wasn't for publicity. That wasn't for the clout. That wasn't for what people do now and, you know, get on social media, attack other people and so on. None of those things were for clout. Tupac was really shot by some real dudes for real reasons that they thought at that particular time was something that warranted some kind of retaliation against Tupac, right or wrong, right? So when you deal with that number one fact, right? That number two, when he caught the alleged incident with the young lady in New York, that wasn't a publicity stunt. That was real, right? When Tupac went to jail for that incident and got up in court and told the judge what he told him when he stood up and he said, Your Honor, you can't even look me in my eyes right now. He said, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in God's hands. So you can do what you want with me. That was real. When he was sentenced to 4 years in a Clinton Correctional Facility, that was real, right? All of the things that transpired at that particular time in dealing with just the New York situation involving Tupac Shakur was real. None of that was publicity stunts. And not to say that none of the artists that are involved with some of the stuff that they're involved with, today is publicity stunts. I wouldn't dare go there because a lot of artists have lost their lives. But when you understand how it happened with Tupac, right, to even try to compare them with Tupac is doing that artist as well as T-Pain a disservice by doing that, right? So now, those are some of the incidents in which Tupac was involved in which catapulted him to legendary status. Not because of what he went through, but because of what he overcame, right? So, well, let's go before New York. Let's go down to Atlanta, right? Seeing his brother, the guy who was being harassed by a police officer, off-duty police officer and so on, and Tupac handling his business and trying to help that brother out, right? That thing that says that he was more than just an artist. He was a revolutionary, not just an artist, a poet, not just an artist, and what we would consider as a martyr for doing the things that he did that any normal artist today wouldn't do, because there were no cameras watching. You know what I mean? There was not a social media platform that you could immediately post a picture or a video of that incident when it happened. It was real, right? And not only that, but to go to court and stand tall about what you did and also be exonerated or actually beating the charge. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That was real, right? And so now you take those incidents in itself, those are some of the incidents that made Tupac the person that he was while he was living. Okay, now you take any artist today. It's not the same thing because a lot of artists are doing what they're doing for clout. None of those things, and I repeat, none of those things that Tupac did, he did for clout. It was real incidents going on in real time and in real life. And some of them wasn't always in Tupac's favor. Going to prison, wasn't in his favor. Being involved in all of those altercations wasn't in his favor. But yet and still, he dealt with it like a man. He did not snitch like a lot of these guys do once they get in trouble and they're faced with pressure. Another thing, once again, you got to understand that I'm not talking about popularity, cars, clothes, and money. I'm talking about a man's character. When he does something and he's faced with the penalty for what he done, he takes care of it and he holds his head, keeps his mouth shut like a man. Tupac did all of those things, right? So now, you go with the situation coming home from jail, dealing with being shot at Quad Studios, right? And going to jail, coming home from jail, messing with Biggie's wife, Faith Evans, right? All of that was real. None of that was staged, right? You got guys now staging things and so on and so forth, to once again help sell their records. Tupac didn't have to do that. You talking about in prison, while in prison, selling 2 million records, then coming home from prison and selling 5 million. T-Pain, I don't really think you thought about what you were saying before you were saying it, my brother, right? 2 million while in prison. There's no artist that has done that yet. Not because he wanted to go to prison, but that was his fate at that particular time. But not only was it his fate, but he was prepared. He had an album done, ready to go, released while he was in prison, went to #1. It's never been done before. Right? Okay, boom, come home. Meet Faith Evans, him and Biggie, going back and forth, going at it, right? And Pac holding his own with against what he would consider a whole coast at that time of the people that were responding from the East Coast. You know, you went at Jay-Z, you went at Mobb Deep, he went at Biggie, he went at Little Kim, you know what I mean? And we're talking just on that lyrical hip hop thing where you would go at somebody, right? The thing that T-Pain is talking about, right? You know, hit him up, then you deal with Machiavelli. But before we go there, right, you deal with the thing between him and Biggie, right? Drop him, hit him up. The greatest diss record of all time, period, hands down, right? And so now, when you understand that, for T-Pain to say, oh, the social media, he said, you know, people would have been, artists today would have been dying trying to be more incendiary or more disrespectful than Tupac was. But Tupac wasn't trying to be disrespectful. Everything that he rapped about, he did it. Hit him up was real. First off, fuck your bitch and the clique you claim. You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. Right? Come on now. And no matter how people thought about that at that particular time, right? It was real. A lot of people didn't think it was real. They thought he was capping. They thought he was trying to, you know, oh, he didn't, whatever. Because like I said, once again, you didn't have social media. So you had to take a guy for his word, right? Based on his credibility and how real he was. And up until that point, Tupac had never disappointed. He had never disappointed, right? Okay, now you had Chino XL try to go at him, right? Nobody got no buzz. Pac basically crushed him with one song and gave Chino XL more publicity than he had ever been given before by naming him on that record. Hit him up, right? So if Pac said your name, you now had a lane to get money. I've already told you the story about Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z from Hawaiian Sophie fame. When Pac said that, Jay-Z wasn't that well known. That was on Machiavelli after Tupac was killed. 600,000 records the first week. Jay-Z getting a new look now. Who's Jay-Z? For the people who didn't know and who wasn't that close to hip hop at that particular time. No artist today can do that or has done that, period. So I think T-Pain's analogy of what he's saying, it's a fair opinion, but it's not based in fact. Not what we currently have and what we're currently living with right now. You understand what I'm saying? There's no artist, no hip hop artist, even Biggie, that has been revered like Tupac Shakur, period. Each and every day, you got artists who T-Pain would claim that could, you know, somehow deal with Tupac lyrically today using Tupac's name to help sell their record and bring attention to their project. So I want to know in particular who T-Pain was talking about because he didn't mention an artist. And I think he didn't mention an artist because he didn't want to put anybody under that kind of pressure. Right? So now, think about it in totality. The whole situation involving what T-Pain said about Tupac, it's not based in fact. It's based in opinion. But everything that I just gave you is based in facts. Tupac, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. 50 Cent, say what? What did 50 say? I want them to love me like they love Pac. Right? What did Jay-Z do? Just me and my girlfriend. Him and Beyonce. That's when you know that you're great. That's when you know that you've went over top of a Mount Rushmore or any of those things. You on Mount Kilimanjaro. You understand what I'm saying? That's where your picture's at. That's where you live at, you know, compared to the impact that you have versus your peers. So one must understand. T-Pain, come on now. Let me buy you a drink. All right? Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.